chat with Carl about the new parts, and we're happy that they've been integrated into the car okay. With any luck, you'll be able to feel the improvement, so give them a try.
Hello everyone and welcome back to the F1 2019 career mode. I butchered that introduction, but we'll just leave that in and move on. I did make a bit of a mistake at the end of the last episode when I said that we had an engine upgrade on the car. I got a bit confused because I recorded so many episodes in a row. That is going on the car, or we'll be buying that upgrade at the end of this episode, and it will be on the car for Azerbaijan. But I recorded all the way up until Spain just so I could get some shots of the cars driving around in Spain for the intro sequence. Anyway, we need to select a new rival, so I'm going to go with Lewis Hamilton. He seems to be pretty fast. He got second last time out. Obviously, if you didn't watch the last episode, spoiler alert, we finally broke through for our first win in this career mode, so that is an incredible result at our home race in Melbourne. So that is really cool to see. We got a durability upgrade on the car this time, but that won't really affect our performance too much. Still top of the chassis and aero charts, and bottom almost of the engine side of things. No upgrades for anyone this time heading into Bahrain, so everyone will be in the exact same cars more or less that we had in Melbourne. So it will be all down to the track if we have a lack of pace this time, which I am kind of expecting. There's a lot of straights, and our engine, as you just saw, isn't that great. All night, no rain, forecast a few clouds around, but nothing really to worry about on that front. So let's get into qualifying and see what we can do for the Bahrain Grand Prix.
Bahrain qualifying is nearly upon us, and the drivers look as if they're all geared up to go. I expect we'll be getting underway very shortly. Now then, Anthony Davidson, you're not getting any younger, but you have been involved in your fair share of qualifying sessions in an illustrious 30-year career. How do you deal with the pressure when you have that one chance to deliver a perfect lap?
It's not so much about dealing with the pressure. It's more about how you approach the risk and just how much of it are you willing to take. You're constantly balancing the car on the edge of grip from braking, cornering and traction. And over the course of a lap, it's easy to get that balance wrong. And that's why achieving the perfect lap is almost impossible. As you say, I've been doing this 30 years now, and it never gets any easier.
Alright, so we skip straight to the end of Q1, and you can see we just about get through down in 12th position, so not showing great pace, but Charles Leclerc top of the timesheets, so obviously I have plenty of time to find, but that's not really a huge concern for me at the moment. I am more worried about the fact that Devin Butler is up in 4th, so the Haas car not particularly fast, but Devin Butler doing very well. So that shows to me that the AI are not showing their full potential at the moment. But anyway, Kimi Raikkonen, Kevin Magnussen, George Russell, Robert Kubica and Daniel Ricciardo knocked out in the Renault. So a really bad run from Ricciardo. We move on to Q2. We just scraped through down in P10. Pierre Gasly, Lucas Weber, Danny Kvyat, Alex Albon and Antonio Giovinazzi knocked out in Q2. So mostly they are the usual suspects. But Devin Butler does a pretty good job managing to get through there. But anyway, we move on to Q3 and we get underway on our qualifying lap. Actually strange to see Lucas Weber getting knocked out. That McLaren is pretty decent, and obviously Weber has been the much faster driver compared to Norris all through his rookie season. So that is interesting to see that Norris was able to get through, but we'll see how all that plays out once we get into the race itself. But anyway, as we head on through our qualifying lap, just trying to keep it on the island and set a banker time, and we'll try to improve on it later in the session. But for now, the lap is coming together pretty well, I would say. DRS open as we head towards turn 11, and this is always a bit of a tricky corner. I just never feel like I get it quite right. And then of course the very tricky turn 12, missing the apex there massively, and that is not the ideal line through there. But as we head towards the final few corners of the lap, the final 2 corners now, and this is all about the exit onto the straight. Missed the apex there a little bit and it went out onto the curb, not quite ideal, but again, this is just the banker time. We'll try to improve on this later in the session, but we cross the line and get our banker lap time in. But as we leave pit lane again, you can see we are 1:20 left in the session, so we really have to get a move on this outlap if we want any chance of setting a new lap time. I left it a little bit too late, so as we fast forward through this outlap, we really need to get a move on.
1 minute remaining, just 1 minute.
And we do a little bit of cross-country action to try to save as much time as possible on our outlap. Hopefully that didn't cause any damage to the front wing, but we are running out of time in the top right. We've got only a few seconds left, and unfortunately we are just going to run out of time, literally less than a second.
Excellent lap. We're really pleased.
Before we get to the line to start our final lap, and we are down in P5.
And with qualifying complete, let's review our top 3 today. Vettel, Perez and Lewis Hamilton. With qualifying wrapped up, we now have our grid line up for the big race tomorrow. Be sure to join us then for what will no doubt...
Get in the bin. So yeah, unfortunately for us, it is P5. Not terrible, but I was hoping for a bit more. Bahrain has always been one of my strongest tracks versus the AI, so that's a real shame. But we can always come back in the race. Ferrari 1-2, which is good to see for them, and we'll continue our rivalry that we sort of started with them in Australia. Our battle with Sergio Perez in that race. Obviously some scores to settle after Perez left Racing Point to go to Ferrari. So anyway, let's get into the race and see what we can do.
The curtain rises once more then on the desert stage of Sakir as the players take their places for the opening act. Will they enthrall us like they did in 2014 with that titanic battle between Nico Rosberg and Lewis Hamilton? Well, we'll find out shortly as we get underway here in Bahrain. We go racing today around 3.36 miles of the magnificent Bahrain International Circuit, with 15 corners and 2 good passing opportunities into turns 1 and 4. Keep an eye out for drivers locking the front left tyre into the tricky braking zone of turn 10. And it's an absolute pleasure to be joined once again by Anthony Davidson. Let's talk about the scientist. That was a great win in the last race. Can they keep that momentum going this weekend?
There are never any guarantees in this business, but certainly the performance last time out would have boosted their confidence coming into this one.
Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. Sebastian Vettel has a clear track ahead of him today. He starts in pole position, edging out Sergio Perez, who lines up P2. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Hamilton, Norris, the scientist, and Leclerc. Verstappen, Butler, Bottas, and Lance Stroll, Gasly, Weber, Daniel Kvyat, and Albon, Giovinazzi, Raikkonen, Kevin Magnussen, and George Russell. Kubica and Daniel Ricciardo fills the last spot on the grid. And with preparations almost complete, let's head down to the track.
Now that we've got some points on the board, let's continue this form and aim for another top 10 finish.
Well, I might be hoping for a little bit more than just a top 10, Jeff, but we'll deal with that when the time comes at the end of the race, see where we are. But to get there, we will need to look at the strategy, and it actually looks like the 1-stop and 2-stop are very close in terms of the actual race time, within a few seconds. The 1-stop from softs to hards just slightly faster than the softest 2 sets of mediums that we normally go with. And you can see I did try various other combinations, but we'll see what everyone else does. For now, we've selected the 2-stop because it just seems the safer option and more the sort of strategy I would choose. But
Okay, go through all the gears if you can. We need to make sure the engagement is okay before the start. We're going to want to put some temperature into the tyres and brakes. We need to keep the engine cool though, so don't go too high with the revs. laps.
we'll see what everyone else does and just...
Keep an eye on the lights. The start sequence will begin as soon as the grid has formed. Be ready with the clutch.
we'll just make it up on the fly, really. But anyway, we got 5 red lights. And it's lights out, and away we go for the Bahrain Grand Prix. It's a lot of wheel spin for Hamilton, but a decent start. The Ferraris battling side by side into the first corner, and Leclerc almost cuts us off as we go round the outside into the first corner, braking a little bit deep. Very lucky not to run into the back of Leclerc or Hamilton there, but we managed to muscle our way past Lando Norris in the McLaren, and we find our way up into 4th position, heading into turn 4. A little look down the inside of Hamilton, but not enough space there on this occasion, and Hamilton holds on to 3rd. But it's the Ferraris that lead the way at the moment. Hamilton very close behind, and he'll be looking for an opportunity as soon as he can to get clear of those 2 Ferraris, and he will not want to let them get away.
That's a decent start. Good job.
But obviously Hamilton, a championship contender this year, for sure. He was very disappointed after finishing 4th last year. So he will certainly want to improve on that in this season with Red Bull. But we have a little look around the outside as he defended there. Nothing really to do there. And Hamilton holds on to 3rd place. We're just waiting for an opportunity. A bit of a wide moment there actually for us. But we're just going to bide our time and let the race come to us if it does. But we've got a bit of a cushion both in front and behind now at the end of the first lap. So I think we just need to keep driving the car, keep it on the road, and see where our pace is at. But for now, I don't think we really will have what it takes to overtake Hamilton. You can see the straight line speed that we're missing, and even compared to our teammate who's in the same car, he's a lot faster, and he goes down the inside into turn 11, and we're not going to fight with him there. We will just let him do his own thing, run his own race, and we will do the same. So we move on to lap 3, and we've got to run on Leclerc as we head up the hill through turn 11 and 12. So can we make a move here? A little bit wide there through turn 13, and that's not going to help us out as we head down the hill, but we still are running okay. We're quite close behind him. We have a look to the outside, but I'm not going to risk it there. Try for the switchback along the main straight, and we do get a good exit. It's lap 3, so we will have DRS as we head down towards the first corner. As we go to the inside, Leclerc not going to make it too difficult for us, and we make our way past Charles Leclerc down the inside, and can move our way back up to the 4th position. Nice and easy there.
Caution, caution. The virtual safety car is out.
Oh, virtual safety car. And that is for a mechanical failure for one of the Williams. It's Robert Kubica, and the pole will not finish this race, unfortunately for him. That is not a healthy sounding car in the slightest. The Ferrari's doing battle up ahead just as that virtual safety car was coming out. There's the move on Charles Leclerc, and
Virtual safety car is ending. Maintain your pace until the green flag. VSC ending. Wait for green.
as we move on, the virtual safety car ends, and we get back underway. But it looks like we've lost a bit of time to the cars ahead. So a little bit unlucky with the timing there. Obviously, lost a bit of time as we went back to green. Didn't quite make the most of the delta in the corner of the screen. But I don't really like taking any risks with that. I leave plenty of time on the table. I'd rather lose 1 or 2 seconds under the virtual safety car rather than getting a penalty. So just playing it safe there. But that has cost us a bit of time versus the cars we were battling up ahead with Hamilton and the Ferraris. But they are all battling away and hopefully holding each other up. And we should be able to play our way back into this if we don't get held up ourselves battling with Charles Leclerc. You can see he had to go a little bit defensive there. And Vettel currently in the lead, but he is battling away quite hard with Sergio Perez throughout this race. And Hamilton is just watching on as Charles Leclerc goes down the inside into the first corner. We're going to hold it round the outside to the inside of turn 2, and we hold off Charles at this time. but it might not be for very long. He's sitting right behind us as we head into turn 4, and is he going to send it down the inside? Not this time, but Charles Leclerc just stalking and hopefully waiting for a mistake.
The gap to the car ahead is 2.2 seconds.
But for now, he is yet to get one from me. But I'm not the best driver under pressure, so it might not be too long until that happens. And as we head into turn 10, go deep, and there's the mistake I just mentioned, and Charles Leclerc is going to be straight through here, and there is no competition that I can put up, and I just have to check the front wing. It's all good at the moment. There might be a tiny chip out of it, but that shouldn't affect things too much. But as we move on, we go down the outside into the final corner, around the outside of Charles Leclerc, sending it this time. This battle is getting a little bit more heated now between the two of us. We get the DRS though, which is absolutely crucial for this overtake, and we re-overtake Charles Leclerc and move our way back up into 4th position. And now it is probably almost time to start thinking about strategy, and if I want to switch to the one stop, I can confirm that there are some other cars on the one stop and some definitely on the two stop. So different strategies will play out in this one for different drivers, but for now I'm not exactly sure
That's a new fastest lap for the race.
who's on what strategy, but we get a new fastest lap on lap 9, or heading on to lap 9, so on lap 8. So 8 laps on a set of soft tyres on heavy fuel and setting a fastest lap. So that was a pretty good effort, I might say, to get that fastest lap in. That was it's not very often you see fastest laps late in a soft tyre stint, but that was a rare exception, it seems, to obviously turning up the battery deployment, trying to close the gap to Lewis Hamilton, who's just dropped off just slightly from the two Ferraris, who are continuing to battle away for the lead in this race. It is absolutely insane how close those two have been, but they so far have avoided any fireworks, but hopefully they'll be able to keep it clean for the rest of the race, battling away teammate on teammate. But anyway, we move on, and we are eventually
Teammate by 2.0 seconds.
as we head on to lap 10, going around the outside of Lewis Hamilton into turn 1, and that is 3rd position for us in this race. Absolutely insane that we've been able to come back late in the stint.
Copy that. Hearts for next box.
And we do switch the strategy to the one stop. We go onto the hard tyres, so this first stint we'll need to extend it, but the reason I'm doing that is because we're coming back into this fight, and that suggests to me that we have good tyre wear, so we should be able to make this one stop work for us if that is the case. Hamilton though looking strong behind, but not getting close enough, and tyre wear is never really been my strong suit, but it looks like on this occasion we have better tyre wear than the cars we're battling, so that's why I'm going to go for this one stop, and hopefully it pays out for us. It will certainly give us the track position late in the race, so that will be a huge positive for us. But we run wide through turn 10 again, and Hamilton is going to get us back here, and we have actually dragged him back into the fight a little bit with the Ferraris. We send it around the outside, and we actually might get it done here through turn 11, and that is a really nice move around the outside of Hamilton, but he is just not going away, coming back down the inside as we head into turn 1, going deep, trying to defend there from Lewis Hamilton, side by side through turn 2, and we just about managed to maintain the position. We get the DRS. Hamilton though has the DRS as well, but I don't think he'll quite be close enough this time. No, we're going to close the line there, and look at this, we are right behind the Ferraris now. They've been holding each other up a little bit, and obviously our tyre wear helping us come back into this fight, but I've noticed they are going quite long as well in this first stint, so the Ferrari's potentially on a one stop as well, as we get right close behind one of them there. That is Sebastian VETTEL, Sergio Perez, the one in the lead at the moment, and Vettel to the inside, and he's going to go soaring past his teammate. Can we join him? We've got a decent run here. Perez defends. We go to the outside, around the outside. There's a lockup from Vettel, I think that was, but we go around the outside of Perez, and we take second position in this race, immediately going to cover the line.
Perez is behind you. They're on old softs. Their tyres are 13 laps old. We think they've got one more stop. The time last lap was a 1 minute 36.0.
And one more stop for Sergio Perez. So Perez is definitely on the one stop. So that will be very interesting to see how that played out. I assume that most of the AI would be on a two-stop, but it seems they're going to risk it as well. And that does involve dragging these soft tyres a long way into this race. Around about lap 17, I believe, is the ideal window. So it's a big ask to get the soft tyres to that point. But if you can do it, it is the faster option. And the less pit stops you make, obviously, is always a benefit if you can make the tyres last while you're out on track. So I think it seems that most of the contenders in this race will have that tyre where they need to pull it off. But as we go through saying all that, we are closing in to Sebastian Vettel, and we are going to see if he pits. No, he doesn't this time. And now we have the run on Sebastian Vettel. With the DRS, we can compete in the straight lines, and we saw straight
Nice
past.
move. Good job.
Back onto the racing line, missed the first corner just a little bit, but we get through there ahead of Sebastian Vettel and up into the race lead. Now we move on. Sebastian Vettel though is going to come back at us. We had to leave the space there on the inside heading into the first corner. Now on lap 17, so it's very close to the pit window. You can see the tyres are absolutely begging for a holiday at the moment, as we still battle away with Sebastian Vettel, and he might just get through here side by side on the exit of turn 4, and we cannot continue that battle on this occasion. But it doesn't really matter too much. We are still well in the fight. He does get away from us a little bit by the end of the lap, but we may come in this time. We'll follow Vettel, whatever he does, and Vettel stays out, so we will too. That was our lap to come in.
Pitting this lap then. Come into the pits at the end of this lap.
And I think at any cost we will come in on this lap. I'm not going to stay out again, no matter what Vettel does. But
Copy that. Parts for next box.
we do come in this lap, and so does Vettel. So we are mirroring each other's strategies here as we head into the pit lane. Sebastian Vettel in, and he is going on to the hard tyres on that Ferrari. The white wall tyres going on to the red car, and indeed the white wall tyres going on to the pink car as we exit pit lane and get back
Pit strategy complete. See these tyres through to the end now.
underway. Once again, Hamilton round the outside and takes the position and gets in between myself and Sebastian Vettel. Hamilton on the soft tyres, so he is on a two-stop in this race. That is unfortunate for us that he's managed to get in between us, but hopefully that means he can push on and get away from me, maybe even give me some DRS, and maybe put pressure on Sebastian Vettel and cause some issues for him. Maybe they can battle away and hold each other up a bit. I don't know, but not ideal.
Affirmative. Medium tyres at the next stop.
At the moment we set our next pit stop to medium tyres, just in case we need to make an emergency pit stop under a VSC or a safety car. But
Charles is behind you. The gap to the car behind is 3.4 seconds. They're on fresh softs. Their tyres are 2 laps old. We think they've got one more stop.
Leclerc on a two-stop as well. Obviously we don't have another stop to make in the planned strategy, but anyway, as we move on later in the race, Hamilton does overtake Vettel for the race lead, but we're not worried about him.
P3. You are currently in P3. Vettel ahead. Okay. Gap ahead is 2.8 seconds. They're on fresh hards. Charles is behind you. Okay. The gap behind is 1.5 seconds. They're on old softs. Our gap to first place is 2.6 seconds. That was our last stop. No more scheduled pit stops. 34 laps to go.
So some misleading information there, but they're around about 2.5 seconds ahead, battling for the lead, but Hamilton has gotten ahead, and he has another stop to make though, so I'm not worried about him. As long as we stay within about 20 seconds, we should be fine. But Sebastian Vettel now will be able to sit in the DRS of Hamilton, and I hope that does mean he can just sort of pull away from us for free. That is the worst case scenario to happen now. But we move on to lap 26. Charles Leclerc down the inside into the first corner. We're going to try and hold him off around the outside and retake third position rather in this race. Hamilton up in the lead at the moment, still with his final stop to make. Charles Leclerc putting the pressure on still, and eventually down the inside he goes into turn 11, and we're not going to fight it off that time. He has the pace at the moment, but we move on a few laps later on lap 31 round the outside of the first corner, and I think Charles Leclerc's tyres must have started to die off because he doesn't have the same pace that he did a few laps ago, and we managed to re-overtake him there and just about hold him off as we head into turn 4. And look at Sebastian Vettel, he is not too far ahead of us. So with all our battling with Charles Leclerc, Vettel has not gotten away, so we're not out of this yet. We may still be able to catch up to Vettel if things go our way, but we will need Leclerc to leave us alone. But we move on to lap 33, fastest lap of the race for us, and we are closing in on Vettel. We go for a move down the inside into the first corner, and we bang wheels with Vettel round the outside of turn 2, and we take second place in the Bahrain Grand Prix. Vettel though might come back at us as we head into turn 4. We're going to cover it off a little bit, but he is unable to make a move there.
If we turn down the ERS deployment, we can harvest more energy.
And the battery again will be very difficult to manage while battling away with Sebastian Vettel, but hopefully it doesn't become a major issue. But we are ahead of our main rivals at the moment as Lewis Hamilton comes in for his final stop onto the medium tyres, and he'll go to the end of the race on those, so he'll be quick, and if there's a safety car now, he will be in prime position. But Vettel down the inside once again, and Sebastian Vettel retakes the lead of the Bahrain Grand Prix. Can we make a switchback work? We got a alright exit, but just not quite good enough, and we can't come back at him on this occasion. But we still have over 20 laps left. We actually have a good run down the inside, and we somehow make him move through the S's there over the hill, and that is a very unusual place to make a move. Turn 6 I believe that is, and just checking the front wing, but it's fine. So that is a really nice move on Vettel there, side by side through that section. It's not easy to do, so I was quite happy with that move coming off, and Vettel cooperating obviously to let that happen. But he's going to come back at us once again on the straights. He's just going to fly straight past, but he's quite deep on the inside there. Runs over the curb. We get a nice switchback around the outside of turn 2, and once again we managed to retake the lead there, and that might be the trick we have to pull a few times if we want to win this race. But Sebastian Vettel will be looking to come back at us, and as we move on once again, lap 37 now, and he is going to come back at us once again as we continue through this race, and we just have to leave the space there, but nothing for Vettel to do on that occasion. Hamilton, by the way, has made his final stop. Sergio Perez is running in third, and Vettel flies straight past on the run into turn 4. We almost run into the back of him there, but thankfully we avoid contact with the Ferrari, and can continue this ongoing battle we've had with him all race long. It has been a really great battle with Sebastian Vettel, but he is on top at the moment.
Sat in P2, Vettel is ahead of you. The gap is less than a second. They're on old hards. Perez is behind you. The gap to the car behind is 9.3 seconds. They're on old hards. Look after these tyres now. We want to finish the race on this compound. 21 laps to go.
And we are so far ahead of Sergio Perez that it really doesn't matter what we do. We're not going to fall back that far if we battle.
That was the fastest lap of the race. Keep this up.
With Sebastian Vettel, we move on to lap 42, we get the fastest lap of the race. That was actually lap 41 that we set the fastest lap on. But lap 42 now, when we are coming back into the fight with Sebastian Vettel. This battle has sort of ebbed and flowed a little bit. We dropped out of DRS range, now we're back in it as we continue to push, and now we just need to save up the energy again. I had to use a lot of fuel and energy just to get DRS back, and that was an ongoing pattern with this battle. I'd get to the DRS and then have to save a little bit and drop out of it, and then have to push again to get back into DRS range.
Right, tyre situation. We're good for the time being, but you are going to start to notice the wear, so make sure it doesn't catch you out.
And we have been really evenly matched on sort of overall pace at the moment. So it's been a really great battle with Vettel, but for now he is in front of us. But we've been saving up the power, saving up the fuel, and hopefully we will be able to make a move on Vettel soon enough. But there are still plenty of laps to go, 16 of them, so there is a lot left to play out. George Russell is a car that we'll both have to clear. Vettel manages to do that quite easily, so do we. But if we go on board with Vettel, you'll see that was actually a lot closer than it initially looked. Russell a little bit unsure of where to go there, and thankfully he didn't take out the race leader. That could have been a little bit awkward for the British driver. Not going to plan for him, unfortunately, in the Williams. But as we continue to move on, more lap cars will continue to get in the way. Lucas Weber, a long way back in this one, as we steal a bit of slipstream from the McLaren, but we make our way past. So I'm not sure what's happened to Weber. He's obviously had some kind of major issue in this race, but yeah, it really has been a long day, it seems, for Lucas Weber. So unfortunate for him, but McLaren, they've had a few issues. Norris retiring from the Australian Grand Prix as well, so maybe not the most reliable car, the McLaren. And as we continue to move on, Daniel Ricciardo, the next lap car, really has been a long day for Ricciardo too, just not really with the pace, and maybe he's had some issues as well. He qualified in last position, so yeah, it has not gone well for Ricciardo. And this, meanwhile, is the battle for fourth position, and Charles Leclerc is at the back of that train, so hopefully he can move his way forwards by the end of the race. But we move on to lap 52, and Sebastian Vettel is still right in front of us, but we have just been continuing
We're leading our teammate by 17.9 seconds
to just chip away, and we are slowly starting to put the pressure on now as we head towards the closing stages of this race. Remember, we had really good pace at the end of the first stint, and we will hopefully be able to use that at the end of this second stint. Remember, he was driving away from us and driving away from us initially on these hard tyres at the start of the stint, but the fact that we've closed up suggests to me that we do really have the better tyre wear. But the straight line speed of this car is really what's preventing us from getting an overtake.
5 laps of fuel remaining.
And you can really see it there on the exit of turn 10. Just no real power to compete with the Ferrari, but up through the hill here we are right behind him, even in the dirty air, able to follow very closely. So that is what we're dealing with right now. But along the longer straights, it is more about the drag than the engine power, and we are okay along those straights. So we stick right behind Vettel through the final corner. So can we make a
They
move?
start feeling some significant drop off in grip around now. The data suggests the tyres are getting quite worn. They may not last much longer.
To the outside of Sebastian Vettel as he defends towards the first corner, down the outside of the Ferrari, round the outside of turn 1. And we should be able to complete this move through turn 2. Nicely done. And up into the lead of the Bahrain Grand Prix. But we move on to lap 54. And Sebastian Vettel, of course, is going to come back at us down the inside into turn 1. We brake quite early. I thought I'd go for a switchback here and see what we can make of it. But I didn't quite get the power down as early as I should, didn't carry as much momentum as I should have, and Sebastian Vettel is going to hold on. We send it around the outside into turn 4. A little bit of a desperate lunge there, but Vettel holds on this occasion. We'll stay on board for the rest of the race. We'll watch this battle play out between myself and Sebastian Vettel, and we are getting through the middle sector fairly nicely. We need to close right up behind him and potentially maybe make a move in a different place than what we have been, because we keep overtaking him into the first corner or into turn 4, and it just hasn't worked out for us. We can never get away enough, so we may have to try in a different location around the circuit, but there is not really any better options, so we will just overtake him wherever we can and wherever there's an opportunity, because we just don't quite have the pace to make an overtake whenever we want, as we run wide out of turn 13 there. But not going to cost us too much as we're right behind him. Anyway, we'll get the DRS to make up any time that we lost. You can see he's slower than us quite significantly through the final corner, as we even run wide a bit there. So we have a fairly significant pace advantage over Sebastian Vettel. We're going to close up as we head into the first corner. Not enough to make a move though, and we almost drill him there. He's going so slow through that apex, but he's doing everything he needs to at the moment, and I just can't find a way past. But we've got to run again as we head towards turn 4. He's going to defend, so have a little look to the outside, try to get a switchback as we head towards the middle sector, but got a little bit up on the curb, a little bit lost the rear end a bit, and not able to make anything of it there. So mistakes still creeping in, and it's costing me at the moment. But we are slowly but surely running out of time. Sebastian Vettel, with every passing corner, is getting closer and closer to that checkered flag as we go for a big slide through turn 10, and very lucky to save that. It is not very often you can go for a slide in an F1 car and get away with it. So I'm very thankful that we're able to catch the slide there and continue on our way. And thankfully we kept it pointing in the right direction. We've lost a lot of time to Vettel, and I'm being very cautious
We have 2 laps of fuel remaining
through these next corners to make sure that we don't spin the car out after probably overheating the tyres there. But it seems to be okay, and we'll get the confidence to push again quite soon. But we do maintain the DRS here, which is vital to our race. And you'll now see just how much faster than Vettel we are when we close right up onto brakes here. And that is the difference in mid-corner speed that we have, the confidence to carry compared to Vettel. So with 2 laps left, we have very few opportunities left. So this lap we need to close up as much as we can, and just hope that we find an opportunity on the final lap to make our way past. Otherwise it will be second place for us. But we're just going to sit behind for now and wait and see if he makes a mistake, maybe into turn 10. It is a very tricky corner, but we're not quite close enough to be putting the pressure on there. So it will need to be on the final lap, unless we can close up in the final corner. But it doesn't really look like it's going to happen. It seems like Vettel has upped the pace a little bit. As soon as we've caught up to him, he just seems to just have a little bit extra left in the tank. Maybe he's turned his engine up for the last 2 laps, because I just don't seem to quite have anything left to throw at him. But with 1 lap left, we will be throwing the kitchen sink at this race and seeing what sticks. A bit of a missed apex there at the last corner, but still faster than Vettel through the corner itself. But on the straights,
Great work. That's a new fastest lap for the race.
Vettel is just so fast as we set the fastest lap of the race. So really good pace for us there. But Vettel is looking pretty slow through these first 2 corners. Can we maybe make a move as we head towards turn 4? Not a good enough exit out of the first chicane, but we are right behind him. You can see how close we are through turn 4. So can we please make a move? Maybe into turn 8. It will need to be a desperate move to make it there, but we are so close behind as we go through the middle sector, and we'll try to line it up, but Vettel manages to keep that covered off. So now there are only very few opportunities left, maybe 2 overtaking spots left on the circuit. One of them is turn 11. We are right behind as we head through turn 10. A bit of a slide on the exit, and we are not going to make a move into turn 11. We are too far behind, so that pretty much leaves the final corner. We just need to stick as close behind as possible through the final sector of this race, and we are not really doing that. A couple of missed apexes through the going up the hill there, but we are throwing everything at it.
The tank is empty.
Almost off the circuit there, and we are not close enough to make a move into the final corner, so it's all about the run to the line where you make a big jump over the curbs through the final corner, but it's not going to be enough, and Sebastian Vettel is going to hold on and win the Bahrain Grand Prix.
Great drive. We're really happy with that performance.
That was a really good drive for Vettel. No mistakes in that last sector of the race.
Ferrari have really pulled it out of the bag today. It's a great win. Talk to me, Ants. What was it that set them apart from the competition today?
I really feel the track layout combined with the track temperatures we saw today suited their car. These cars come alive when the tyres are just at the right temperature, and the driver did a great job managing that as well. They just look so comfortable out there. It's like anything, it always looks so easy when it all just clicks.
Here come our winners now. A thrilling race and a tremendous effort by Ferrari. Their history is well known, so it's no surprise to fans the world over to see them come out on top once again.
So there you have it, Ferrari first and third in this one. Sebastian Vettel wins the second race of the season, and hopefully this is a title fight between us that can go all the way to Abu Dhabi, but that is looking a long way ahead. But for today, it's Sebastian Vettel on top.
So then, it's time to see how this result affects the Drivers' Championship. It wasn't the best weekend for our championship leader, and their advantage at the top has been reduced. After an incredible day of racing, who was your driver of the day, Ant?
I think it's got to be Lucas Weber. Time and time again, he proves that he's someone who can quietly get the job done, and that's exactly what he's done today.
It's time to check out the constructors' standings. It was a tough race for our championship leaders who lose ground at the top of the table. Meanwhile, Ferrari have improved their position. A strong weekend from them as they fight their way towards the top. After an event like that, who knows what the sport has in store for us next time? Be sure to join us again as we continue to bring you the latest excitement in Formula One.
Alright then, thank you Crofty. So, what a race that was. Fifth to second, not a bad effort. Hamilton, not really sure what happened to him. Obviously the two-stop did not work out. I think he got stuck in traffic after his second pit stop, and that's what held back Hamilton from getting back into the fight, because he was running right with the Ferraris, and I think after he made his first stop, he got held up behind Vettel for a while too. So it seems that two-stop was really only viable if you could keep some clean track position. Unfortunately, Hamilton was not able to do that, so Hamilton will be looking to improve on the strategies at Red Bull. But yeah, the one stop was definitely the way. Everyone on the podium did the one stop, so yeah, that is clearly the way forwards this time. But next round is a new race, so who knows what will happen there. But yeah, today it seems for once the hard tyres were actually very useful. I can't say I've ever really been too fond of the hards, but yeah, the game's proven me wrong. I actually thought they were completely useless in race sessions, but I'm glad that they do have their moments. But yeah, it all worked out for us in the end there, but unfortunately just not quite being able to overtake Sebastian Vettel. No mistakes from him in the last 5 laps, and I just couldn't find a way past. Just the Ferrari is just so fast in a straight line, particularly on corner exit, and we just couldn't compete. And that's all in the engine power. So yeah, a lot of work to do there for us. But anyway, let's get into the interviews.
Amazing performance out there. I'm sure you're pretty happy with that. Did you struggle to get through all that traffic today?
A little bit, but with the strength of our cars in the corners, sitting in the dirty air just isn't quite as hard as some of the other cars might find.
You really looked in control of your car out there. Your team must be thrilled.
Yeah, they've really put a good package together for the corners.
Lucas flew through the pack in that race. What's his secret?
What's his secret? He's a pretty good driver. That would be part of it. And well, he's obviously in a pretty fast car, it seems, with that McLaren.
Great. Well, that's everything.
Thank you, Claire. Alright, so that brings the Bahrain Grand Prix weekend to a close. We will get that engine upgrade that I mentioned last episode, and we are tied in our rivalry with Hamilton. So far we have had the measure of Leclerc, but he has been very speedy and has just been on the wrong strategies really in these races so far. The two-stop today for Leclerc wasn't the one.
Great work. That's exactly the kind of result I'm looking for. Keep it up.
And a first and a second to start the season for us. Not a bad way to kick things off. So that is all very, very positive at our end. But here is the engine upgrade, raw power, major upgrade. So it'll come in for Azerbaijan, and we'll also get that last quality control upgrade as well, just to make sure that we get that engine upgrade on the car, and it won't fail, hopefully, for us. But that is that for this episode. I don't think there's any upgrades that we can really do other than that, just that major engine upgrade. So other than that, I will see you next time. We don't have any resource points left. So yeah, I will see you next time. Have a good day. Stay inside. Goodbye.